What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Madhouse. And man, is it a mad world out there because we're going into weekend number 2 of Set Champs, and we already have like 100 cards revealed for next set. So regardless of how you feel about it, maybe you're a huge fan, maybe you're not, maybe you're like me and wish they'd wait till after Set Champs like last time. They're here, and I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the cards they've revealed, and I'm not going to do these like I did in previous sets of doing uploads every single day. It's going to be every couple of days. I'm going to talk about the cards I'm really excited for, the cards that I think are going to see play no matter what happens, and some of the cards that I just think will be a lot of fun or things that I'm really excited about for the future of Lorcana. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do have a couple announcements that I want to do really quick. So let's jump into that. And first up, I just want to remind everyone the Safari Zone Collectibles 5K. It's a guaranteed 5K. So that is coming up. That's going to be in the first month of release. And then also there's still time to join my Discord, my Facebook, get put into that drawing for the Rapunzel, it's like $40-ish. It's not the legendary. It's not the DLC one. It's the one that from a while back, but all you got to do is run. You got to move, right? Run, walk, jog 26.2 miles or bike 52.4 miles. It's only intentional miles and it's not super in depth. At the end of it, just kind of, hey, here's my tracker. Here's how I did it. I wrote it down pen and paper. I did it in Strava. Whatever Nike Run app. I don't care. I just want to motivate people to move, and we're playing off the integrity system. This is going to be every single month. We're going to do another challenge, another card to give away, and just keep it going. And we're going to do some like bonus things of if you did this, you get an extra drawing. I just want to help stay happy and healthy. That's the whole thing, right? So with that being said, let's jump into the cards. And first up on our list, we've got tribals. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got tribals, and I'm so excited. I love tribal stuff. I think it's a lot of fun making a deck around it so that it works together. And Madrigals has been something that has been there for a long time, but never quite able to even make tier 2 of being able to be playable. Maybe tier 3, but now it has opportunity. Okay, it really does. This Maribel Madrigal being a 0/2/1, a 1 and a 1 drop. And when you play this card, if you have a song in hand, you get 1 lore. That's really, really positive because that's late game reach, but also just early game lore gain. The Alma Madrigal, the 6 cost, inkable 5/5/2. And then the miracle is you, all right? Once during your turn, whenever one or more of your characters sings a song, you may ready those characters. This is really awesome because if you scroll down and you see this fantastical and Madrigal, this 9 cost on inkable, it's sing together 9, and for each character that sang this song, draw a card and gain 1 lore. So this is really, really strong when paired with something like Alma Madrigal because they're going to all sing this song and then they're going to ready. So then if you have more songs, you could do it again. If you could sing a second fantastical, you could sing another song, whatever, fancy you have. So that is going to be really positive as well. The Bruno Madrigal, when you play this character, chosen opposing character can't ready at the start of their next turn. As a 4-drop, it's not a great stat line. It's not questing for a lot. The ability is niche, but what is really exciting about it is the 7 cost uninkable Bruno Madrigal. That's a 3/7/2 shift 5. Whenever this character sings a song, you may draw a card for each character you have in play. So this is really good as well. 3/7 is a great stat line. We really like that stat line. Questing for 2, really good. And then whenever he sings a song, you get to draw a card. So you shift this. Maybe you have Alma down already. So now you sing Fantastical and Madrigal, or Fantastical and Magical with Bruno, with Alma, and it readies your characters. But because this character sang a song, you draw, but then you also draw a card with Fantastical and fantastic. It can go crazy, right? The combos right now are looking really good. You have to find out with this tribal deck what things are we gonna have to add to make it work. And Is it ever going to be a tier 1? I don't know. It's really hard to say right now. Purple yellow still needs a lot of things to be really positive, but it I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's very easily could be a tier 2 deck right now because of things like Fantastical and Madrigal, with things like this Bruno effect being really good, the Alma effect being really good. We just need some better songs right now for purple yellow, but there's time. I think we still got a lot of reveals left to go, and I think some good things are going to happen. But let's talk about our next tribal that I hope everyone is super excited for. I tried making it work this last set. It was just missing something. And now I think we have a lot of what we need. Is it perfect yet? It might be. It's just going to need some theory testing, but Dalmatians, man, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. And it all started with Patch. All right. Patch, this 1-drop on Inkable, 0/1 with Ward. That is massive. And while you have another puppy character in play, this character gets +1 lore. So you have a 1-drop that is questing for 2 on turn 2, and it has Ward. This is crazy strong, because what happens is you can play Patch on 1, and then you can play Perdita, or more what you should be playing at this point is this beautiful Dalmatian puppy down here in the bottom right, because now you can start questing for 2, and then you can shift Thunderbolt. And now Thunderbolt, that 3/7/2 has bodyguard, and then the Patch can just quest away, questing for 2 and having Ward. So you're not getting rid of him, all right? It's so hard when he hides behind that bodyguard, right? That 3/7/2. Meanwhile, on maybe the next turn you can drop this Perdita, and then you turn 4 you shift this big Perdita. When you play this character, you may put all puppy cards from your discard into your Inkwell face down and exerted. Sure, you don't really have any puppies in your discard yet, but it's still questing for 2. It's still a 4-drop. Turn 5, maybe you drop this Colonel, right? While you have 3 or more puppy characters in play, this character gets +2 attack and +2 lore. So he becomes a 5/6/3, pretty darn good. And all you got to do is find, well, I guess 2 more puppies still, but I just think the deck is in a really good place. Draw is still going to be somewhat of an issue, but at the same time, that Perdita effect of turning everything into ink from your discard, or all the puppies, is going to help a lot with that, because you don't have to worry about using your draw to ink cards. So there are a lot of really good things coming. We see the Rolly. He's a 2/3/1 support. When you play this character, you may put a character card from your discard into your Inkwell face down and exerted. So that could be another way to you play that on 4, and that then lets you ramp into your Perdita. You don't even have to shift her. So that is another possibility. So there's just a lot of options. There's a lot of things that you can do with this deck to get really nasty and to do a lot of really cool things. And I'm just really excited. You will be seeing me playing some Dalmatians, playing some Madrigals this set. I can't wait. All right. It's going to be great. So moving on though, these are the cards that I think 100%, no doubt in my mind, are going to see play. Now, whether they all stay in the deck, we'll see, but these cards will 100% see play at the very start of the set. We've got this lady, this 0/3/1. Whenever you play a character, this character gets +1 attack this turn. While this character has 3 attack or more, she gets +2 lore. And in these green-yellow Chernodog decks, it is not unheard of to play 2 characters or more in 1 turn. And I guess you'll have to play 3 characters, but even then, that's not completely unheard of. It's still something that is a possibility to do. So I think it's still very possible. And then questing for 3 is pretty darn good. All right. It's pretty doggone good. You see? Anyways, the next lady we have here is a 3-drop. When you play this character, you may put a character with cost 2 or less for free. You may play a character with cost 2 or less for free. And she's a 2/2/2, and this is really, really impactful. She might be a 2/2/1. I should have moved into the unknown. I think she's a 2/2/1, but this is really good, right? You play this, you get to play a character with cost 2 or less for free. So cheating characters out is always a really nice thing. Look at the Mufasa players that love cheating things out. That's the whole point of ramping, right? We see these blue decks that love to ramp. And the reason they love to ramp is because then they can do all these ungodly things super, super early in the match. Next up, we have this 4-cost on Inkable Flynn Rider, 1/4/3. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging player may choose and discard a card. If they don't, you gain 2 lore. Okay, so this is going to be one of those things that he has to be answered. He might be. This is one that I think we'll see at least 1 or 2 of in your deck, but how long it will stay in the deck, I'm not sure. But at the same time, this ability, it's kind of like Tiana, right? The 3-drop on Inkable Tiana, where if you challenge the character, you had to pay ink or you lose strength. And this one instead is whenever this character is challenged, you choose discard a card or you don't. And if you don't, they gain 2 lore. So you get punished for answering Flynn. You get punished for not answering Flynn because he's still questing for 3. So just another really good card that kind of offers reach with that 2 lore, or, emptying their hand out, which is really nice. You pair this with some Flynn Rider, or not Flynn, well, even Flynn Riders, but also the Cursed Merfolk. And their hand is not going to be it's not going to be very big. All right. It's not going to be a good time for them. But next up is this Tramp, and this Tramp is wild. Okay. This is a 2/8/2 shift 4. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may draw a card. And this is unbelievably good. This is unbelievably good. And red is going to be a monster next set because everybody's going to be on Brawl to be able to answer this Tramp card, because you cannot let this card live to tell the tale, because it's just going to go, it's going to be so broken. I think this card is so good. Possibly one of the best cards of the set that we're going to see. But this ability now, for one of Chernodog's biggest weaknesses was that draw power. If you didn't give them Rapunzel value and they didn't see that Tramp to go tramp into Chernobogs, then they just kind of fizzle out and lose. But now with this Tramp, this 6-cost 2/8/2, it quests for 2. It's great Rapunzel value. And on top of it, when they banish your other cards, you get to draw a card and replace them. Like, this thing is busted good. And goodness gracious. Chernodogs was already kind of, in my opinion, a high rolly deck that did good when it high rolls. But now this Tramp, it doesn't even have to be a high rolly deck anymore. It can be a very good, just consistent deck. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very interesting to see how this deck does and what kind of happens with it and how the meta develops around this deck. But next up, we do have Into the Unknown. So Blurple players, really excited for this one. Put chosen exerted character into their player's inkwell face down and exerted. And this is really exciting. This is something that I like cards like this because it can be used for you or your enemy. It can be used as an offensive card or a defensive card, in the sense that maybe you play a Bell on turn 1, right? You pop Bell, and then turn 2 you play Tipo, and then turn 3 you go ahead and sing Into the Unknown onto your own Tipo, right? And now you get all that ink right there. So that can be really good. The other thing is it can just be used in an emergency early game, but at the same time, I don't think this is a card that you really want to be using early game. This is definitely more of a mid game to late game kind of card. So it's just kind of bridging that gap between when you might normally play Hades or when you might normally play Let It Go. But the fact that it's inkable gives you the ability to kind of run probably 2. Running 4 gets a little risky because if you don't see Tipo, then it's just going to be ink. Singing, best case scenario, singing it onto your own Tipo is pretty good. That's not the worst case thing in the world. So yeah, I think it's 100% going to see play. I think it's a very good card, that ability. And then exerted characters. So that is the one downfall, is they have to be exerted, but people are exerting their cards, right? Like that's a thing that they have to do if they want to win. And for a Blurple player, if they're not exerting their cards, then you're okay with that as well, because that is a win for you, as you get your engine going, you get your ink, and you just kind of start controlling the board. So if they don't exert, then you're okay with that also. Next up, though, we do have Jock. He's the 4-cost inkable 3/4/1. When you play this character, if you have 3 or more characters in play, gain 2 lore. I think this will definitely see play at the start. I don't know if it will continue to see play. Like, it's great reach, right? This is really good reach. I don't know. It probably will. I think saying that is a very much an understatement. I think it very much will see play. Just gaining 2 lore is just really, really impactful, especially going into turn 4 where these characters are probably alive because you're running a bunch of 0/4s. So I think it could see play. It's really interesting. I'm really interested to see how the deck develops because you could argue that it might be too slow, taking up like what slots is it going to take up if you do decide to run this Jock. So that could be an issue, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's one of those things where if you don't have 3 characters, it feels really, really bad, right? A 3/4/1 on turn 4. That's not really something that you want to be playing. So I just don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on Jock? Is it going to be something that stays past, the first big event, or are people going to realize that, maybe it's not the top card? What do you guys think about Jock? All right. Next up, though, let's talk about new archetypes. And this is what I'm talking about. This is something that I think is really exciting. Last set we saw these ally decks, these blue steel ally decks really coming into fruition, not so much being playable because they didn't have enough support, but now we're seeing more of this stuff. We're seeing this 1-cost Jasmine and then this 4-cost Jasmine. So first, let's talk about the first Jasmine. She's a 1/2/1. When you play this character, you may give another chosen character resist +1 until the start of your next turn. So the big thing with this, that doesn't mean a whole lot, right? Because you're probably playing Jasmine on 1 to play Jasmine on 2, right? The shift Jasmine. Now, if you're against Steel Song and you have 2 in hand, this could be really impactful because you can play 1 and then use the other Jasmine to play the other Jasmine to give your other Jasmine resist +1, and then they survive against the Storm Rage on. All right, so that can be really good. So there are times where it could be playable, but what I really like about it is it's a 1-drop that just continues to potentially be really useful. There's, for a lot of players, look at Blurple, right? Blurple, we cut the 1-drops because those 1-drops just don't feel super great in late game. You want those bombs, you want those characters that are questing for 2, drawing you cards, cycling your deck. But now Jasmine just she doesn't feel awful if you draw her mid-game, things like that. So you have the 1-drop Jasmine now, and then you have the 4-drop inkable 2/5/1 Jasmine that shifts for 2. And whenever this character quests, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal an ally character card and put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is really exciting. First off, it's a 2/5/1, so it's a big body on turn 2, which is really good. But the other thing is that it can sing how far I'll go, which is, again, really good, ramping right there. So that is really, really nice. And then you get to draw a card, essentially. The odds are, if you're running this card, you're running a very ally-heavy deck. We saw a couple people trying to make allies work this last set, and it just wasn't quite there. But now, maybe with Jasmine and the baby Jasmine, it has an opportunity. I think shifting a 4-cost on turn 2, it's pretty good. I think that's really, really impactful. The next up, though, we do have the Aladdin, right? So Aladdin, this bodyguard, whenever one of your ally characters quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from this character, and it's a 1/9/1. I don't know why I have the baby Aladdin there. I think I thought he was shift, and he's not. Now, he's Dreamborn Hero Prince. It's unfortunately, maybe if he had the ally tag, it could work, right? Because it could work in these ally decks, but I just don't know. It's weird because whenever one of your ally characters quests, you remove 2 damage from this character, but at the same time, this I just don't know. 1/9's a lot to deal with, right? Like, so most decks cannot deal with that in 1 turn. Look at McDuck Manor, okay? That takes a lot to deal with. So maybe, they have to deal with it in 2 turns. So the fact that you play this card on 6 and then you just continue to play allies and it becomes a bodyguard that they just can never remove. with that being said, they'll eventually be able to, right? Because he only has one attack, which means that, like, if they didn't banish it last turn, they probably played more characters and they're going to play even more characters. So the good chance they're going to be able to remove it, but at the same time you're developing your own board behind it. So I don't know. I could see it seeing play. I mean, what else are you playing? Cogsworth on 5, Chinpo on 5. Do they run any 6 drop? Like, does Blue Steel have any 6 drops that they care about? Tinkerbell, but I don't know if you is Tinkerbell an ally? I don't know. But I don't know. I think you could run 2. I think you could run 2 Aladdins at the start and just see how it feels, especially because Steel Song's not removing this at all. Brawl, of course, Baby Sizu being a thing. But it's a hard character to get through while the rest of your stuff is just kind of questing and doing their thing. You play an Alice and Alice gives him ward, so then he can't be brawled or Baby Sizu'd anymore. I think there's a lot of possibility. I don't know. I'm interested. We'll have to see what, the Jacks and the Harlans of the world do, because I'm sure, Blue Steel's changing, right? Well, changing. No more Hiram. So, but we saw Kiwi. Maybe we'll see some ally stuff come on, and the players that are really dedicated to it, really going to explore this. Next up, though, we do have Alice, clumsy as can be. She's a 2/6/2, 6-cost inkable, but she's a shift 3. And accident prone. Whenever this character quests, put 1 damage counter on each other character. And the reason I like this, and the reason I put it in archetype, is because we've seen Green really trying to make this damage thing work for a while. Like, we have the Robin Hoods, we have the Queen of Hearts from last set. And I like the idea. I like the idea of, you have damage counters, it gains me lore, I get to play a character cheaper, things like that. And I think it's fun. So you can play this, this Alice when she quests, you deal 1 damage to something, and then you could ready her, right? We have some of the new Red Sing Together song, so it could ready her, and then she can quest again. Maybe I'd have to read that card, but maybe there, whatever it could be, right? There's other cards out there that would ready her and it let her, quest again. So then she deals 2 damage. Fan the Flames, I think, is one of them. But so there's some cool things. And I don't know. I'm just a sucker for that kind of archetype and how they're trying to make it work. This whole damage counter thing, shout out to the Goodest Boy, right? In the 20 Lord Discord. He's really been trying to work his fling dream, I don't know, but trying to really make this damage counter stuff work with red purple. And maybe there's something he could do with it in green red if he wants to go a different direction with it. But I like it. I think Alice is going to be pretty cool. What can I say? I'm a sucker for Alice in the Wonderland, right? They're all a little mad. But moving on, we do have more archetypes, and I want to talk about this Jafar, right? This 5-cost uninkable 4/4/3. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card. Then choose and discard a card. If an illusion character card is discarded this way, you may play that character for free. I really like this. I think the illusion archetype is really cool. I think it's really fun. And this ability to play this card that has really great stats or maybe a good ability, but at the risk of, if they play a song on it, it gets removed, right? We see Red Purple putting in the new, funny enough, the Jafar card, right? Something strength maybe, but they draw a card and give something challenger +2. So they're using that to get rid of Iago's. And it's just interesting. I like the payoff. I like the ability to play a 1-cost 1/4/1, but then it could easily be removed at the same time. Or the Iago, the 4-cost 4/6/1, which trades into so much and so much opportunity with that card. And I think Jafar is really cool. Again, if you get this card down, now your opponent has to answer this card, because you don't want your opponent to be able to start playing all these cards for free, for not costing anything. So you quest, you get to draw a card. That alone is really good. And then choose and discard a card. So if you do discard that illusion that you just drew or had sitting in your hand, then that feels really, really, really good. So I'm excited for the Jafar. I'm excited for the illusion archetype. I think some cool things could come from it. The next one though is Chief Bogo, and I'm really excited for this one. And Chief Bogo is a 5/5/1 6-cost inkable. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters with bodyguard is banished, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card with cost 5 or less, you may play that character for free. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. So I like that you know what your next card is going to be, right? Worst case scenario, it's not a bodyguard character, but now you know what your next card is going to be. And that's knowledge, right? And so that could be something really good. So I guess it doesn't change anything, right? Because it's during your opponent's turn. But so we'll forget that. But the ability here to just again play characters for free is so good. And there's not a lot of great bodyguards, but there's still good bodyguards out there. We saw I guess Aladdin wouldn't work, but first off is the Mittens, the sassy street cat 4/5/2. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, your other characters with bodyguard get +1 lore this turn. So Chief Bogo, pops Mittens, plays Mittens for free. Of course, you don't put it in bodyguard because you want it to be readied. And now next turn, if you have any bodyguards left, they're questing for 1 extra. So maybe Jim Deere is, you play that on 2. It's a cheap one. There's Donald Duck. There's the new Prince that's a 0/7. There's Baloo is gaining you 2 lore. There's so many bodyguards out there that I think you could do something with it. I hope that we see a couple more bodyguards this set, but I think you could do something with it. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited to play Chief Bogo. I think it looks good. I think the card looks good, and I think the ability is fun. It's kind of like that Mufasa ability where you're just flipping the top card of your deck, and is it a Maleficent Dragon or is it, a Queen of Hearts, right? Or the card Soldiers. This is really popular now in Mufasa decks. And then, of course, Jim Deere that I kind of just talked about, 0/4/1. Would you play this over the Prince? I guess it depends on inkable count. But, we're going to talk about a bodyguard later on in this video that I think you kind of want to play this in yellow. You play Chief Bogo in yellow-red, but I'll show you why when we get there. So, and we're there. Next up on our list, these are just cards that I think are really neat. I think they have an opportunity to see play. I don't know if they will see play continuously, but I think people are definitely going to try and make them work in their decks to make things happen. And, kind of like, the Bolt and, the Shift Bolt, where a lot of people, you still see play every now and again, and people are trying to make them work. And we see Bolt here. But looking at it, we have this Ratigan, right? This 6/7/4 ward at the end of your turn. If you didn't put any cards in your inkwell this turn, banish this character. So you're always gonna have to ink. He costs 8. He's expensive, but he is inkable. Right now, we're seeing a Mama Odie deck that's really popular in blue steel that is inking an incredibly large amount or very fast, very quickly. We still have a lot of ways for blue to ramp very quick, and a 6/7 is just difficult to deal with. Give it ward, it's almost impossible to deal with now. They're going to have to trade multiple characters into this character, so that's pretty good as well. Is it too slow? Maybe. So it's definitely more of a late game card. Maybe you run 1 or 2 and you're okay with that. But I think people are going to try and make him work. I mean, he's Ratigan, right? So there's somebody out there that I can think of that might try. He's not red purple, but he's still a rat. So next up, though, we do have our 6-cost Rhea. She's a 5/5/2. Whenever this character quests, you may pay 2 to ready another chosen character. So maybe you play Rhea, right? So you have that Alice from earlier. You quest, right? So you quest, deal 1 damage to everything. And then Rhea, she quests, and then you pay 2 ink to ready the Alice, and then she quests again. And now that she quests again, you deal another 2 damage to everything. So maybe you have some decent removal, right? It gets around ward, so you can banish Prince John's that way, which is really nice. Nobody likes that card anyways. It's a way to get rid of Diablos at that point. So Rhea, that ability, readying characters is just, you can get away with some really nasty stuff, all right? You can get away with some really nasty stuff when people, when you set up those combos correctly, right? So next up, though, we do have this 3-cost Bolt, a 0/4/4. This character enters play Exerted. So you're playing Steel Song. You're playing Amber Steel aggro, right? And you're just chilling. You're having a good time. You play a Cinderella on 1, and then turn 2, you play the Prince and 0/7. And they're like, what is this weird thing? And then turn 3, you play Bolt. All right. Turn 3, you play bolts, and for them to attack your bolt, you're questing for 4 bolts. They have to get through your 0/7 bodyguard. So that can be really nice. Or you're playing him in a bodyguard deck, and maybe you do go, Amber Steel bodyguard deck. And so you play bolts, and he's behind, the 0/4 that we just looked at. And then you play bolt on 3, and then turn 4, you play another bodyguard, whatever it may be, anyone you want. And now questing for 4. Like, I think the bodyguard decks were going to be in either Amber Steel for specifically Bolt and Piglet and some of those really strong questers, or an Amber Ruby because of this 4-cost Minnie Mouse 0/8/1 bodyguard. This character gets +1 attack for each 1 damage on her. So that's each 1 damage. So if they hit Minnie Mouse with a fox, she now becomes a 4/8 with 4 damage. So that is really good. Whatever goes into her after that is going to take, it's probably, close to being banished. So there's some really cool things that you can do with that. The fox would still be around, of course, but she still has 8 health. So again, really hard to get rid of. You can't even fox crab her. So that can be really difficult. Now, is it great starting at 0? No, but she's still really annoying to take care of. That 8 health, that is a lot of health. And so I don't know. I think that could work as well. Remember, Chief Bogo could play her for free. So that is really exciting as well. So I think Amber Steel for a bodyguard deck, but also Amber Ruby for a bodyguard deck, and Chief Bogo craziness is going to be a thing, going to be something that people play around with for sure. Next up, though, we do have the wardrobe, right? The new Hiram, unless you consider the Hades, the new Hiram that I forgot to include in this video. But the wardrobe is a 3/4/1, and the 1 doesn't really matter because she's never going to quest, because exert this character, choose and discard an item card, draw 2 cards. So you play this in an item deck. You play, blue-red items, blue-green items, and now you play her, you exert her, you get to draw 2 cards, you banish one of those items. So it's a much weaker Hiram, but it's a much more balanced Hiram. I don't know. Will it see play? I don't know, but it's definitely the closest thing we have to Hiram right now. The other card I mentioned earlier, that Hades, it's a 7-cost red, purple, uninkable, that a lot of you deal 2 damage to one of your characters. You get to draw 2 cards. I don't know if it's going to see any play. I really don't. Red purple really struggles with uninkables as it is. So to play a 7-cost uninkable, that I just don't know. I don't think it's going to see play, because normally on turn 7 you're playing Be Prepared to even out your board, and then I don't know. I don't think it will see play. I think the wardrobe will see more play than that Hades, but time will tell. Time will definitely tell. Next up on our list, though, we do have the 7-drop song Beyond the Horizon, and choose any number of players. They discard their hands and draw 3 cards each. And this is exciting. This is really, really, really exciting, because here's what can happen with this card is you go turn 1 Cindy. You go turn 2 Ursula or Troubadour, and then you sing this card on your opponent. If your opponent is on the draw, they're going to discard their hand and they get to draw 3 cards. Okay, cool. You get to draw 3 cards. I hope they're inkable, right? And if they are, you're going to play that inkable, and then you're going to ink the inkable. You're probably going to play a card, and you have one card in hand. You have one card in hand, and I have two singers on the board and whatever else I want to do. So that is exciting. Or maybe you sing Whole New World with Ariel, you get a Beyond the Horizon, and then you sing Beyond the Horizon to make them discard their hand after singing Whole New World. Beyond the Horizon, it is an issue, right? Because like Steel's song already has a lot of uninkables, and so do you cut any of those uninkables to play something like this? I don't know, but it does have a lot of opportunities. It could be something that you just play on top of a Whole New World because it lets you draw 3 cards as well. But how many games have we seen Steel Song players lose because they brick on Whole New World? So now you can risk bricking on Whole New World and Beyond the Horizon, and that can be pretty risky. That can I don't know. I do not know if Beyond the Horizon is going to be playable. If it is, I don't know if it's in a wheel deck and a Whole New World deck, just because I don't think you can run that many high cost uninkable songs. I don't know. It would be sexy to do off of Mulan, right? The shift Mulan. I think that would be really sexy, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be playable, but we'll see. We'll see. There might be some crazy lat. If it is playable, I do not think it will be in a Whole New World type deck. I think that will be the caveat to make it work. But at that point, I mean, it'd be okay because you could draw yourself 3 cards. So yeah, I think that might be the way it sees play. Is you remove Whole New World. We'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely gonna experiment with it. So keep an eye out for that as time goes on. But next up on our list, we do have a Maui. He is 4/4/3, 6 cost, green steel card. And when this character is banished, choose one. Put 2 damage counters on all opposing characters. Banish all opposing items. Banish all opposing locations. I like this card simply because of the fact that choose one. I really like choose one effects. And the reason I like choose one effects is because it's just multiple lines. It's multiple abilities. I know it can get really dangerous because it can be really powerful, this choose one effect, but I don't know. I like that ability. I like that it can do that. It's a 4/4/3, so it is questing for quite a bit. It can't get banished by Brawl, Medusa, Baby Sisu, things like that. So that's really exciting. But it does cost 6. But I think it's going to be great into the mirror if you manage to get to 6 ink because, that 2 damage counters to all opposing characters, banishes the Diablos, the Prince Johns, things like that. Banishing all opposing locations, they could feel pretty safe about that. The problem is this character has to be banished to make all that work. So your opponent has to trade into you. So they're not going to trade into you unless they really need to because they don't want to deal with that. So they're going to set themselves up correctly for that to happen. So we'll see. Is it something that I think we'll see play? I don't know. This might be the Maui that doesn't see play. I don't know. I don't know. It is interesting because that even the 2 damage counters on all opposing characters can be really good. So maybe you do run just 1 or 2, but I can't ever see a world where you're running 6 of them or 4 of them, but we'll see. But this next one on the list, there's going to be a lot of craziness going on with this card. This Mickey Mouse Giant Mouse is a 10 cost uninkable, 10/10 quests for 5. When this character is banished, deal 5 damage to each opposing character. This is wild. And people are going to try and make it work, right? And they're specifically going to try and make it work with the Mickey Mouse that lets you play a card from your hand for free. Like that's how they're going to make it work. And there's things you could do. Like I think it's going to be Purple Steel that has the most success with making it work. But people are going to try and play this card. It's going to happen. Maybe we'll see it in some Blue Steel where they just try really hard to ramp really fast. Again, the Mama Odie decks, that could be a possibility there. It already has a lot of uninkables though, so maybe not. But just I want to play this with the 3 cost Mickey Mouse just to be able to play this Mickey Mouse. Like, it'd be like a fun deck where I just play it and be like over the moon excited and so happy with life because I got to play a 10-10-5 on turn, 4. Like that's pretty cool. So, I don't know. I think Mickey Mouse, I don't think you'll see any real play, but he'll see a lot of fun play. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. I I wanted to do this one differently. Instead of doing uploads every day, like I said, I just really wanted to talk about the cards that I'm really excited for. And I think that's what spoiler season is all about, just being excited. And so I thought instead of going through every single card, which can kind of drone on, I'd do it this way. And maybe it was droning on. I don't know. But I'm definitely excited for the the Madrigals. Really, really excited for the Dalmatians. Let me know, what are you guys excited for so far? And I hope you get everything you're hoping for with this set. If anything, I hope you're excited for the rotation, the things that are coming for Lorcana. If you guys want to see another video on that or a video on my thoughts on that, let me know. But yeah, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, remember, nothing matters more, but remember to stay happy and healthy. I'll see you around next time. All right.